Let me show you from up close how to place the nail tip on the nail in the best way. I'll show you how to do it with an empty tip without materials so that they don't leak throughout my explanations. But of course it is done with materials already spread inside. So I start by holding my nail tip at a 45-degree angle from the nail, just like you can see in the video. And I hold it a few millimeters far from the nail's cuticle. Now, the edge of the nail tip is the most important part. I always have to make sure it's touching the nail. So make sure to never lift it from the nail. So I press that part onto the nail and slowly move the nail tip towards the cuticle. Then I slowly place the whole nail tip onto the nail. And I stop pressing only once my nail tip covers my growth points. I remind you, the edge of my nail tip near the nail's cuticle should not disconnect from the nail. Since the first moment I press it onto the nail, I don't want to disconnect it anymore. So make sure that when you press the nail tip onto the nail, it does not disconnect. That will cause leakage of the filling materials, which we are trying to avoid. So we start with a 45-degree angle and slowly push closer to the nail's cuticle. And only once I've reached the nail's cuticle, I slowly press the whole nail tip onto the nail while making sure the edge of it does not disconnect. Also, I want to keep some space between the nail tip and the nail. This place is for the filling materials, which I don't want to just press and spread out. So I just press my nail tip onto the nail only until I cover the growth points. Then I stop pressing it. I'll repeat that. Once I've checked the nail tip is covering my growth points on both sides of the nail, I do not press the nail tip upon the nail anymore. And immediately I move on to drying it. So let's go over that again. The edge of my nail tip touches my nail at a 45-degree angle. Then I slowly push it towards my nail's cuticle. And then I press my nail tip downwards onto my nail only until it covers my growth points, without overpressing it so that the edge of my nail tip does not lift up. The edge of my nail tip should always stay connected to the nail itself and should not be lifted up at any point. I keep making sure the two are connected. And I don't just press it as strong as I can onto the nail, I just make sure it's covering the growth points.